do 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 do.
A sequel nobody asked for.
Hello, people. I am
Hello.
Justin. That's Kyle. That's Daniel. Today we are about to have some fun. We are going to be rating all of the Office characters in a tier list. We got them all right here. And yeah, that's pretty much all we're doing. I have nothing good to say, honestly.
Before we get into it, I got something I
Okay,
wanna
you're just
make
gonna
sure.
cut me off like that? Cut? What the?
You
Okay,
got nothing. Okay.
okay, go, Sure.
All right. Look.
Just. Okay, I'm joking. Okay.
All right. All right. If to our audience,
Before we get started, something. Oh,
A sequel nobody.
before we get started, to our audience, okay. Yeah, all right, I was gonna be nice and cordial, but here's the thing. Look, we're trying really hard to make this good content. Some of us are anyway. If you really like this stuff and you really want to watch us on YouTube at A Sequel Nobody Asked For, or follow us on Facebook at A Sequel Nobody Asked For, you know what? I was gonna say they should like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell, but no, don't. Don't like us. Don't follow us. Don't subscribe. Don't even touch that bell. Don't even touch it. Let Notre Dame do the bells. They got that shit down pat.
Quasimodo.
But you know what? Yeah,
Oh, I've got a
Quasimodo.
lot to say about him.
But you know what? Make sure you don't like us on Facebook and don't subscribe to us on YouTube. You know what? That's interrupt me again, bitch.
I'm not gonna do that. That would be out.
A sequel nobody asked for.
Okay, let's get into the nitty gritty. Kyle, pick a random person, any random person. We'll discuss where we think they should be. We've got D tier, C tier, B tier, A tier, and then S tier, which is from least to the best, the greatest tier. Go right ahead.
So before we get into this, what's everyone's experience with The Office?
so I've never actually seen it all the way through 14 times. I've seen it through 13 times. So I'm a little bit of a fan, but I haven't watched it in a good 3-4 months. So it might be a little bit rusty on my knowledge, to be honest.
I believe that The Office is what the Benchwarmers was for me, which was the show that everybody puts on in the background while they're doing their house chores, while they're doing their homework. That was The Office for a lot of people, and you don't end up hearing one joke from one season. Like 4 times through, you watch it and you don't hear this joke, and then on the 4th time, you're like, oh my God, I never noticed that. And that's what's cool about it. It's just a classic show. Sure, some seasons get a little rocky, but they get back on course by the end. So I can't really complain there. It's a classic American TV show.
Yeah, I've only seen a couple episodes 10 years ago. I don't know half of these characters, so I'm going off of my own criteria here.
Are you serious?
I'm 100% serious, actually.
Oh, nice.
For some reason, I assume they...
Yeah, I didn't think that was the truth.
No, I told you guys beforehand. You're all like, "Oh, that classic Kyle and his lies." But no, this
Classic hilarious Kyle.
Yeah, no,
And
this
his
is
antics.
100% true. I know
nice.
this. I know this Steve Carell guy is
Okay,
Michael
so-
Scott.
Okay, this is going to
Nice.
change things up a lot. What we're going to basically do now, impromptu, is you're going to pick up a character. You're going to name that character, at least what you think their name is, and what they do in the show, or what their character trait is. And then we'll go from there. Then we'll have you still rate them at the end, even though you don't
Okay.
know who they are.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll start with the one I do know, and that's Steve Carell as Michael Scott, and he's the boss that he thinks he's loved, but everyone's just like, God, this fucking guy.
Yeah, well, that's true, and it's not, because a lot of them, they hate dealing with him on the day-to-day basis, but when he's gone, they're like, man, we really miss Michael. Like anytime
Mhm.
during the show, he either gets replaced or is gone for a little bit and someone else is in his throne as king of the office. It's just not the same to the viewer. It's not the same to everyone in the office. So it's correct, but not correct. He's the only guy that can say really messed up things and people will go, that's kind of endearing. Like,
For sure.
Okay.
Like it seems like he doesn't know what he's saying half the time, and that's probably true. But then the other half the time, it also seems like he doesn't know what he's saying, but he does know what he's saying. And then he's, oh yeah, I meant to do that. Like when the first couple times I watched through The Office, like I despised Michael Scott. I cringed so hard every time he came up on the screen. But after watching a couple times, you start to appreciate like, oh yeah, the show's just not as good without him in it. It's just not as enjoyable. And the same thing that Justin said, like the characters start to miss him as well.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess in that case, I'll be rating him anyway. Am I right in saying that he's like the heart of the show?
I definitely would agree to that. Yeah, like he's one of the, especially in the beginning seasons, like he's the heart and soul there.
Okay. So, Justin, would you agree with that? That Michael Scott is the heart of the office?
Yes, Justin would.
Justin would agree with that. Okay. Um. All right. In that case, it's fair to put him in the S tier.
I mean, personally, I think that's where I'd put him.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can't think of The Office without Michael Scott.
They tried doing it for a couple of seasons. It just, in my opinion, didn't go as well.
I
So
think I'm going to assume that we're going to get to that point very soon, sometime
Oh, yeah.
today. So we'll leave him in S tier for right now.
For sure.
All right. Next up, I want to say his name is Oscar.
Correct. Yeah,
All
great
right.
job.
What?
But can you name the actor?
I God fucking no.
His name is also Oscar.
Oh well, that's just creativity right there.
Mhm.
So as for what his character does, um, no, like a
Best guess.
best guess, like like a marketer for paper.
Not quite. Oscar is an accountant. He's the brainy guy, smarty pants.
Okay.
Type guy, like always getting in debates and like actually this is how things work and things of that nature. So he's always the smart guy doing accounting
Okay.
things.
So
Mhm.
he's one of the straight men, which like is funny because isn't his character gay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Um. Well, based on my knowledge of that, I do happen to always identify with the straight men in comedy.
Okay.
I always think that they get shit on a lot. Still, I don't know how much The Office needs a lot of like straight men for comedy. So like B tier.
Yeah, I'd say somewhere like BC. Like he definitely has his moments, like where he's real funny, but isn't an integral part. I don't think to the main comedy of the show very often.
Yeah. All right, we'll set them in a B tier. All right, this is where I'm gonna start not knowing their names. I want to say Jeff.
Um, no,
No. Okay.
Mm-mm. No.
Am I gonna?
Anything else you would guess about the character? You got name wrong, but what do you think about his role in the show? Like what he does?
Based on what he looks,
Mhm.
manager for a rival paper company.
Okay, that would be interesting. This character is David Wallace. He is, I believe, the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, of Dunder Mifflin towards the beginning. So he is Michael Scott's boss. Michael Scott's the manager of the branch. He is above that. Um, he fires Michael at one point, which is nice. Good stuff like that. But he's very not necessarily comedic until later in the season where he is no longer at the company and starts making a toy with his kid called Suck It. It's a vacuum to clean up the toys and such. They make a theme song. It's pretty great. I think that's probably the funniest part that I remember about David Wallace. But he's definitely more of a serious guy. Ends up buying the paper company towards the end and everything.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my summation of David Wallace.
Okay. Based on that knowledge and the look on his face in this little picture here, I can't imagine this being a super memorable character. I'm gonna like slap him in the C tier for myself, but
Sure.
I don't know if you'd agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's valid. Like I said, he's in it throughout, but I don't think like there's some storylines that play off of him pretty well. But I don't think him as a character I would rate any higher than that.
Okay. All right. This guy again, I don't recognize. I'm going to say his name is Jeremy.
Jeremy, I think my favorite part about this is definitely becoming you naming these characters. Nothing even close to what they are. Um, so that is, if I'm seeing correctly, that looks like Gabe Lewis. And so Gabe is later on in the series, Dunder Mifflin gets purchased by Saber, like a printer company, and Gabe is like this intermediate manager type guy from Saber to help transfer everything over from Dunder Mifflin to Saber, and he quickly becomes the character that just gets like shit on constantly by other characters and everything like that. Dates someone in the office, then breaks up and is a creepy guy afterwards and just trying to be involved in everything. And he's definitely an outcast, real tall, skinny guy.
Okay. Based on your description of him and the fact that he looks like an old boss I used to have, who's kind of a weirdo, is it fair to say D tier for that?
Yeah, the best word I can think to describe him is just is creepy.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's good.
All right. I know Jim. I know
Okay.
I know Jim Halpert.
So can you share your experience with Jim then?
This is the role that obviously launched John Krasinski onto the map. Everybody has their moment where they just do the Jim face. You know, where it's just can you believe I'm dealing with this shit kind of moments. I know he's kind of like the Bugs Bunny to Daffy to Dwight's Daffy, as it were.
I haven't heard that before, but I like that. I like that.
I mean, am I wrong in that?
No, not at all, and that's why I like it.
So
I would say Jim is the guy that whenever you hear anybody saying like, "Oh, who in the office are you? Who in the office am I?" Like everyone wants to be Jim. Jim's in my opinion, the hero of the series. Like he's one of the main characters.
Yeah,
definitely has his moments where he's down, but
I'm pretty sure like he goes through one of the more arcs of the series too, because they focus on him quite a bit.
Oh yeah, Jim. And
I agree completely.
Yeah, I know Justin's been giving a lot of input here, but what's your your input on Jim?
Oh, on Jim? Okay, yeah, I've been having a lot of technical issues, and I didn't know why. I have no idea if you guys said anything about it or what, but yeah.
Yeah, that's all we've been talking about. We haven't done anything since you left.
I see you guys have massacred this board. Jim Halpert is the guy that everybody likes. No one really dislikes him, minus there's a few characters that get in the way of his main goals in the show, I would say. Yeah, like whenever he's trying to progress either in his love life or his work career, those are the only people that really are against him. But everyone else is a Jim fan. First watch through, probably my favorite character. But once I watch the show again, I realize I'm not the biggest fan of Jim. He kind of like has a weird, like he gets the girl by like kind of like stealing him away from the dude that's with her already. Like it's kind of weird when you think about it. Like they make it seem this really romantic story where they're like falling in love in this office, and kind of like weird how they actually get there. To me, he is worthy of an S, but I would personally put him as an A. That's me. But he's always looking at the camera like, or like,
Oh, I guess it's just at least for me when I rated Michael as an S, I definitely took into more like his impact on like the show
Okay.
and like the discourse around it. That's what like at least for me put it towards an S, and I think Jim is kind of the same.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like
he's kind of like the everyman favorite character. Like he's like the general blanket. Like, oh yeah, I love Jim. But like Justin said,
exactly.
the more you watch it, the more intricacies you notice of other characters. Like they start becoming other favorites. So it was kind of similar for me. He was my favorite for a long time. Now he's maybe 2 or 3. But I think he is an integral part of the show that really makes it better in most of the time.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with him for sure.
All right, now just to update some of us who've had technical difficulties at this time.
Yeah.
I got Oscar and B tier right.
Yeah.
The name
I
he
call
had correct.
I
yeah.
call I called David Wallace Jeff. And I called what was his name? Gabe. I called him Jeremy.
Okay, here's the thing about David Wallace. I'm going to intervene right now. There's a part where he goes AWOL in this show. I don't know if this was explained.
Just very, very briefly.
Yeah, there's a part where he kind of goes AWOL because he loses his position. I think he either gets demoted or fired, and he's like making up new schemes with his son that's like 9 or 10, and they're like doing this duo band where they're like promoting a product that's called like the Fun Sucker or something. I don't remember what it's called. It's like a vacuum that sucks up toys. The Suck It. It's the Suck It. And yeah, he's playing the drums. Just suck it. Suck it. Suck it.
His kid, yep.
And his kid's just yelling, suck it. Suck it. And it's just, I honestly think he's more of a B. But that's me. If he's a hard C for you, I'm okay with leaving it there. He's not like amazing by any means, but he doesn't have that much screen time. So the fact that he does have some good moments when he is on screen,
I think that's what brought him to a C for me. Is like he really didn't have much. But like I said, there are some storylines that played off of him and stuff like that. Like Dwight's radio interview that has to do with him, and so like he helped some of the storylines, I think. But I think the thing that brought him up from a D for me was the suck it era, as I like to call it.
Yes, he does progress as a character.
Yeah, and so like that's what kind of brought him up for me.
If he was a D and then he went up to a C for you, I get it then. I'm okay with that. Oh,
all right. I know this next one is Kevin.
Oh, yes, it is.
I don't know why this picture of him is with hair, because isn't he like bald?
Yes and no. He's that place in between.
Yeah, I believe this is at the wedding, maybe, or when he's trying to impress a boss or something like that.
So Kevin, just put him in S tier for me. He's my S tier.
no
Without a doubt.
Just put him there.
He's my S tier. He's in a band called Scrantonicity, I think. Yeah, and he plays the drums. They're like a cover band, and he just has some lines and some very memeable things about him. Like he's talking about his chili he's gonna bring in, and
I know about the chili.
Yeah, he walks
every
into
time
the
I
room.
make chili, I send a picture to people like saying, "I hope I don't drop this."
Yep,
and of course everyone laughs. So
because when he drops a chili and then continues to scoop it back off the carpet, like it's.
He's also in a band called Kevin and the Zits, I believe.
Yep, that as well.
So
he always has those moments that are like the gym moments where you're waiting for him to like look at the camera, but he just never does. He's like a Jim that fumbles around a lot more. I relate to him in his love of food. When Pam is pregnant in the show, she and him have little like get-togethers where they just eat food and like they talk about how awesome the food is, and it's just their little fun time together. They at no other part in the show are relatable to each other whatsoever, but when she's pregnant and she wants food, Kevin and her are best buds.
And so I also like how one of my favorite things that Kevin does is when Michael forces him to eat broccoli, and just his pure just confusion on how to eat such what I consider like such a common vegetable. And so every time I hear someone like eating some weird, crazy food, they're, oh, how do I eat this? That's instantly what I think of. Him just gnawing on the end stalk part of the broccoli and asking for cheese.
And he's someone who always is questioning other people's motives on stuff. I noticed this, like, once I watched it a couple times, like, he'll always be like, yeah, okay, that's why you're doing it. Like, he always has a comment on somebody when they're just very straightforward and, like, being honest about a situation. He's like, okay, sure, that's what it's about. He's like, no, I really just want to eat this hot dog. Like, it's just so simple. And he's always just, like, not trying to be a nuisance, but he just is.
And
he's
just a smirk or laugh at the end after he does it.
He thinks he's the funniest thing ever. Like, he thinks he runs the show, I think, but not in a way where he's like, everybody bow down to me. He just, to himself, he smirks and he goes, I'm the freaking guy.
He knows he's the S tier.
Yeah, he knows he's S tier. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just countless moments. I'm not even going to get into them because I don't remember them all off the top of my head. I think that's the best part is you forget about a lot of the Kevin moments and you rewatch it and you go, what the
Oh, Kevin. Yep.
Oh, Kevin. Very relatable to Justin. Okay.
I think we need an episode dedicated to praising Kevin, but moving on.
We do.
All right. I don't know this one. I'm gonna say her name is Kate.
And what do you think Kate does?
She's like she like doesn't fully have a role in the office. They just kind of want her to retire, but she doesn't leave.
All right, I like this guessing part of The Office.
Yeah.
This character is Jo Bennett, and she is the founder, CEO, whatever of Sabre, that company that
as previously mentioned.
Mm-hmm. You were there for that, I think.
Yeah, Gabe.
Mm-hmm.
Basically the boss of Gabe.
Yeah, so she has her giant Great Danes that she brings into the office, just doesn't care. She's the boss, and she knows it, and she wants everyone else to know it and just go with it. Buys the company and has her rules and everything like that. I don't know how much else I have to say about Jo Bennett.
She just shows up and kind of leaves. It's a whole transition of getting bought out, and she's just there to kind of explain what's going on, leave her mark, and kind of just leave. To me, is she even important to the story? Not really. I would give her a D. Honestly, I'd give her a D.
Would you?
Really? Jo Bennett can take my D.
I think that sums it up.
I'll put it like this. The reason I said Kate was because she looks like Kate McKinnon, and I don't like her very much, so...
Wow.
D tier for me, too. All right. Meredith.
Ooh, I'm very disappointed in you.
I thought I was sure on this one. That's not it.
No. And what do you think Meredith does in the show?
Oh, shit. Now I just flat out don't know.
That's why I figured I'd ask before I told you who it was.
Shit. It's like some. I'm guessing it's like some easy job that she like still fucks up somehow.
Not quite. No. So this is Phyllis.
Okay.
And Phyllis is a saleswoman.
Same
so she
position
sells paper.
as Jim, as Kevin. Or no, Kevin's an accountant. Sorry.
Yep, Kevin's an accountant.
As well as Oscar.
Clevin.
She has been around. I think she was hired on with Michael Scott, or they've been around together or grew up together.
Yeah, they were in high school together.
They know a lot of the same people. Michael always brings up her physical appearance as not being the most attractive, at least in his eyes. And it's always really awkward, and everyone's like, what the fuck, Michael? Like, there'll be a situation where he's like, okay, the girls can go over here, and it's like, oh, it's going to be a swimsuit party, or like something like that. And then she'll be like, oh, I can't wait to wear my new one. And he goes, no. like just shuts her down, and it's really awkward, really cringy. And that's where that whole thing with Michael comes in, where he can do really messed up things, and people just seem to look the other way and go like, "Dude, you're kind of messed up. You're kind of a dick." But Phyllis, a big thing about her is she's married to Bob Vance, and she
Vance
will
for
make you
refrigeration.
know Bob Vance of Vance Refrigeration.
Mhm.
That's like the town celebrity, but not really celebrity. It's like the mattress king of that town, where like everybody knows this guy, and she likes to gloat about it. No one really cares about him, but like everybody knows who he is because he's got his commercial or stuff like that, and everybody just knows. So she likes to bring that up and use it as a little flex here or there. Oh, Bob took me out last night of Bob Vance for refrigeration.
I would say for me, Phyllis is very matronly in the office as well. So she's kind of that like mom aunt character.
Yeah.
So she seems really sweet and everything like that. But then every once in a while, she'll just throw a jab in there. Like I want to say in some point, like Pam or some other office lady is wearing something that might not be the best for the office, or in Phyllis's opinion isn't the best. And she'll be like, "Oh yeah, that looks really nice." And then it's just like, "Ooh, Phyllis, that hurts."
Yeah,
And so
like
those
if
are kind of her funny moments for me.
she'll straight up say like, "Oh, that looks really nice," or like, "She looks like a slut." Like she'll turn around like a second later, "Oh, you look really nice in that," and then go to someone else and be like, "She looks like a slut." Like that's her type of humor. Is like up front, she's very like, "Oh, gee, oh golly," and then all of a sudden she's got those ringers. That's the thing. Where are we putting her?
I'd say B at a minimum for me.
I think a solid B. She's middle of the road. She does what she's supposed to do as a character. Anytime they go more in depth with her, it's well done. It's just there's not much you can do with her.
I'd say also for me, I feel like she was like a writer or like something. She was some other part of the show before it was on air, and they just liked her personality. So then she started actually being in the show, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that, but if that's true, it would make sense. Like,
yeah,
she's very good at being that character.
She looks like one of my aunts.
This next,
no, Phyllis. That's what I have to say about that.
So hold on, because you were hovering over like the CD range. Is that your bias, or let's put this out there?
Like, I was just, Aunt Clara, you're going down there.
I'm trying to read your guys' reactions. Okay, I definitely don't know this one. Claire.
It's funny to me because like looking at the characters, like I look at them like, oh, that's this person, oh, that's this person, and so just hearing someone misname them every time, like that is very enjoyable for me.
What does Claire do?
I know she's not the office bitch, but she looks like the office bitch.
So you're not wrong, but you're not right. Who is it?
So this is
because I don't remember her name.
This is Nellie. I can't remember her last name. It was like Bertram or something like that. Nellie. Yeah. But Nellie first comes in, I believe, when they're looking to replace Michael Scott. I believe that's when she first comes in. She interviews for the manager position. And she's a very, I wouldn't say manipulative, but like goes along with what she thinks other people want to hear. Like she comes, oh, I got this plan. Like it's this, this, and this. And then Jim says something else. And she's like, oh, well, actually scratch that whole thing. It's actually this, this, and this. And so very like people pleaser, like wants to get their approval and things, but also is always looking for a way to be the boss. And that rubs people the wrong way. So in my opinion, she's not my favorite. But
she's
just
very brief in it too.
Yeah, and so like, I'm not a huge fan of like the moments that she's in the show. She develops a little bit. She becomes a manager because she just takes over for Andy at the time, who's the manager, just kind of takes the office, shows up randomly later, and is like, "Yep, I'm here now. I'm the boss." And then that just happens. It like just allows her to be the boss. And then she becomes like just a saleswoman or something else in the office for a while too. But yeah, not a huge fan.
No, that's a solid D for me. I'd give a D to Nellie.
I wouldn't. I guess I can't even. Yeah, that's where I would place her on the list as well.
Let's go to the next one. We got a
Um.
freaking beast coming up.
Oh. Oh
Oof.
God, I don't know a lot of these characters coming up. Uh. Keith.
And what does Keith do in the office?
Let me guess. It's somebody else to replace Michael Scott.
Let me guess. Close.
Kind of.
Yeah. So this character, Justin, do you want to share about him or?
This is Idris Elba.
I can tell it's Idris Elba.
I don't
Okay.
know his name in the show. I do not remember.
See, this is a real. I don't know if this is a confidence boost for me, but like we're going through, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to know everybody, but I do. And this is Charles Minor.
That's what it was.
Yep, he was in the steel industry, and he was hired on by David Wallace, as kind of like a above Michael Scott boss guy. I don't remember his specific title or anything like that, but he was supervising the region or the area below David Wallace, but above Michael Scott. So when he comes in, he kind of rubs Michael the wrong way. They don't agree on a lot of things, and he played a major part in Michael Scott no longer working for Dunder Mifflin.
And I know he gets really competitive with like Jim. Like there's a whole soccer scene where they're playing together, and it's pretty intense. And
Yeah.
Jim's pretty athletic in the show, and he tries to like show it off a lot. Like there's a basketball episode in the beginning that's absolutely perfect, and he's like trying to show off to everyone, including Pam. And all of a sudden, this guy shows up more athletic than him, pretty much, and he doesn't like it. He's trying to get in with him, but then at the same time, he sees this guy is just like toying with him, and it adds a whole nother dynamic.
I would say everyone loves Charles Minor. All the ladies fawn over him. All the guys are like, I want to be his best friend. And it seems like he gets along with pretty much everybody other than Jim. I think Jim's first day, he's playing Charles's first day. Jim's playing some prank on Dwight, and he's wearing a full tuxedo, and like looks like a goofball, and just doesn't get off on the right foot with Charles Minor. Tries showing off his new baby. Charles is like, nope, I hate you. Get away from me. Charles Minor loves Dwight. Dwight is his right-hand man. Jim gets kind of pushed off to the side. So that soccer game happens because Jim's like, oh, yeah, I play soccer, of course. Charles kicks Meredith in the face with a soccer ball. Everyone blames Jim for some reason because he ducked. But, yeah.
Yeah. Charles kicks the ball. Jim ducks, and then everyone blames Jim for not like taking the ball to the head.
Yeah.
And it hits someone else, and they're all like, what a jerk.
Like, Jim, how dare you? Charles, you kicked that perfectly, but Jim. Yeah.
For me, he's a B. Not because he's a bad character. He's just like Phyllis, where he fits his role in the show. It works. Nothing good, nothing bad, in my opinion. He's just who he is. There's just not enough development for me. He doesn't stick around long enough for it to be anything more than a B for me.
Yeah, I was going to say like a C or a B. Not a huge fan of the character, but like you said, I think he plays his role well, and does what the role.
And
is
it's Idris
to
Elba.
accomplish. Yeah, exactly.
Right
And that's why it's got to
have been
be
a C for his name in the show, but now it's a B for his name in real life. Idris Elba.
The one thing I know about Idris Elba is he played a character in one of the Fast and Furious movies, and he's just like, I'm Black Superman. And I'm like,
I'm Black Superman, yeah.
And I'm like,
He is though.
And then isn't he in a DC movie as like a
Really?
Superman villain?
Probably, I don't know.
I think he is, but we can come back to that.
All right. This guy, I recognize. Okay, I know this isn't the character's name. This might be the actor's first name, but Clark.
Correct. For the character name, I don't know the actor's name.
Yeah.
Okay.
What
Clark
does Clark
is young
do?
Dwight.
Yep, Dwight Jr. over here.
Oh, isn't Dwight like a salesperson?
Dwight is a salesperson, yes.
Okay, but Clark isn't. Clark is probably like an intern.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, you're killing it, my friend.
Oh yeah, I got
got
one
one out
freaking
of-
right.
You got hold on. You got all the S tiers.
1 out of 11
One
so far.
B. Yeah, you're okay. But yeah, Clark is Dwight Jr. comes in as an intern, um, and really embraces the the yes man mentality of pleasing the boss, going along with the boss, clapping for Andy when he's the manager, everything like that. But he's always kind of scheming for something behind the scenes, trying to get more out of the job, more out of the people in the job. Always kind of scheming in kind of a funny way, in my opinion.
I always think of him as the singer of the Postal Service or Death Cab for Cutie because he looks just like that. And I just think of him every time. I forget his name, but literally he looks like him, and it makes me happy. Because I want to say the singer of him dated that other show that's really good. What is it? New Girl. New Girl. What's her name?
Zoe Deschanel.
Zoe Deschanel. Yep, they like were married for a bit or something.
Gotcha. Yeah,
For me, he's not in the show enough to like give him anything higher than a C for me.
yeah, like, he's definitely in it. Like after Michael Scott, and like he comes in as try to like him and another intern come in as kind of I think trying to refresh the show a little bit, get a little bit of different style of humor in there. And so I don't think he has a big enough part. He's really, I think a C as well.
He's pretty meh.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, he's more of a D to me.
I mean,
Now that I
I'd leave
think
him at a
about
C.
it,
Like I think that he has a couple parts that
the
are
fact
pretty
that
funny.
he's young Dwight, like
Yeah,
they
Dwight
comment
Jr.,
like,
they-
"Oh, you're basically Dwight Jr." or something at
Mhm.
some point. So yeah, no, you're right.
And then the way that Dwight plays off that is, oh yeah, he's like my son. Like he has this like transitional moment where he's like treating him like a little kid and stuff. Where they go on sales calls together as his kid. But yeah,
Even though he's only like maybe 5-10 years younger than him.
yeah.
Beautiful. Oh my God, I see who we have up next. Who's that, Kyle?
I don't know, fucking Gary.
Gary.
Gary. Oh my god, the strain and pain on Kyle's face is
Yep.
nice.
Strain and pain.
Mm-hmm.
What does
You're gonna
Gary
ask
do?
me, yeah, you're gonna ask me what Gary does, and like, I don't fucking know. He's like the office snake, like just the one guy who's like always scheming.
The one guy that's always scheming.
Say, Justin, you want to take this one?
So this is Mose. Mose is Dwight's cousin. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yep.
And what Mose does is he lives on the beet farm that Dwight has. It's been in the family for a bit. And Mose will show up at weird times. He's almost Amish-like, as you can tell by his beard. He lives off the land, kind of an outcast to society, acts very strange. Like there's a moment where a few characters pull up to the beet farm and he is just chasing them on foot, running after them like a dog. Like through a field. It's like, I'm Mose, and he's just like, hi. Like he's just a very strange character overall. He's got some good moments, so like some really good moments. He, to me, is the best character that's not like in the office. Like all these characters are usually in the office. He shows up usually when they go off location, and to me, he's an A or an S because he has some moments for me.
Yeah. For me, like one of the scenes that I think about is when I believe it's when Dwight's throwing his garden party, or not Dwight. He's hosting the garden party for Andy, and Mose is the valet. And so they're at the farm, and someone pulls up, and I think it's like Toby or something, and he's like, "No, I can drive my car. It's fine." Mo's like, "No, you have to give me your car. Like, give me your car now." Like, gets in the car and then just drives it straight into a cornfield. And then he just walks back. He's like, "Okay, cool." But yeah, he definitely has those just random funny moments where it's just like he either doesn't say anything or he's just real creepy about it. But in the funniest way, I'd say an A for me.
They have, yeah, I think he's an A for sure. I love the moment where they're teaching Ryan how to
How to
make
be
a sale,
salesperson. Yeah.
and they take him to the beet farm for some reason, and it's like a weird hazing where Moses always part of it, kind of like the guy with just like a bat in the background, always like threatening him if he messes up on something. Like I'm pretty sure they capture him and throw him in the back of a car or something. Like it's very strange, tie him up or something, and Moses always involved, always very happy or just like neutral almost in situations where he should be like nothing like that. He should be freaking out or
like
being
seems like a very like a Howie from Benchwarmers type character, where he's
very.
like very sheltered and everything. And I think also he's like a writer or producer on the show too, and so like that's his
That's
thing.
his
And he's
cute
also
little
part
nugget.
of the show, which is pretty cool.
Oh, I'm a fan. There we go. Who do we got up next?
I can tell based on the setting that this character is not part of like the main office crew.
Okay.
I'm guessing he's
Why do you
like
say that?
honestly just looking at the picture and seeing like the fact that there's not a beige wall.
So you're saying he's not in the same building? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that like he's not he's kind of like a David Wallace where like
Okay.
he's not in, like the same building, I guess.
What do you think his position is then?
Okay, I was originally gonna say like a janitor, but I know that one of the janitors are like toward like the middle area right here.
Okay.
I got no fucking clue, dude.
And what's his name?
God, I don't.
I think this one you could randomly guess. I think it's possible based on the names you've been saying. I think there's a possibility.
Yeah, honestly.
I'm gonna cycle back and say Jeff.
Oh, bad choice.
I don't know his name. I know
Oh?
what his occupation is, though.
And so you're like Jim. There's a moment where Jim doesn't remember his name, and it's a whole ordeal. But his name is Hank.
Oh, it's Hank. Yeah, Hank the janitor.
Security.
Oh my god, he was.
Friend.
Oh, he's security guy. He's a
Security
security guy.
guard. Yep, he is in the same building, just on the main floor. Letting
Yeah,
people
he's like in
out.
the little atrium area where he's like sitting behind his desk, looking at all the videos all day. He'll pop in every once in a while. He's really not in it too often, but when he is, he's recognizable. He's like an extra, but he's
It's like
slightly
the
involved.
extra.
Yeah,
like, there's
he's
a
the
couple
lead
moments
extra.
that really stand out for me. Like one is like I was saying, there's one time where they get locked in the parking lot. So the parking lot has a gate. Hank locks it before he leaves. They're all still in the office for whatever reason, and then they're all trying to figure out how to get out. And they're trying to call him, and Jim gets on the phone and doesn't remember his name. And so he's asking her like, "What's his name?" Like no one remembers his name, and so that was a whole ordeal. Also, when they're trying to decide whether they should get a new copier or new chairs, Hank's the deciding factor. They call up Hank, and he just goes back and forth. Oh well, chairs are really nice, but copiers are pretty cool too. But I mean, the chairs are pretty cool. And so then they kick him out of the office. Like, you're no help. Get out of here. And so yeah. So I'd say like be a character just because he's not in it very often, but I think the moments that he is are very enjoyable.
He's a B for me. He's a B for me just because he's such a little part of the show.
Yeah.
But he does add to it. Same reason all those characters that are in B are in B.
Yeah, I think he definitely has the smallest part of any of them. But like I said, I think the quality of his parts brings him up there.
Oh yeah,
compared to like a C.
without a doubt.
All right, now we're getting into characters that I actually kind of know because I know this character's name is Champ.
And what does he do?
And what does Champ do?
Well, now I don't know because I thought his name was Champ.
It is, of course.
You're lying to me right now, Daniel.
No, I don't do that. What does Champ do? What is his role in the office?
Shit, like fucking middle management, I guess. I don't know.
Justin, do you want to share about Champ?
So Champ is not Champ. That is Todd Packer.
I know this is Champ.
Todd Packer shows up. I don't know his role in the company, if he's even still with the company. I don't remember. But he shows up. He's friends with Michael. He's the cool, like,
traveling salesman.
In Michael's eyes, he's like the most bro-y, like, this is the cool guy I'm going to hang out at every party because he's always just saying really ridiculous things and going like, yeah, are there any hot ladies today? Like, and then Michael
I
Scott
was-
just leans into it and he goes, yeah, hot ladies. Isn't he cool? And nobody else thinks he's cool except for Michael. Like, he's a douchebag.
I was thinking of the fucking movie The Comebacks because it's the same.
I say he's
I was
like
how
the
did you get that one?
like the level of cringe that Michael Scott is, but Michael Scott is like endearing cringe.
Yes.
And this guy is like douchebag cringe, where like they try to like get him fired and stuff like that just because he's just a total.
He has some very
dingbat guy.
controversial lines too,
Mm-hmm.
and they know going into it like he's gonna say something that's fucked up.
Yeah.
And that's basically what his character does is he says really fucked up shit, and everyone kind of goes, "Fuck that guy."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he comes back to apologize and brings people cupcakes. All the cupcakes are laced with drugs, and yeah, like he's just a constant like mess everyone's day up character.
And because he is a nuisance, doesn't mean that he's not necessarily a good character. I would say he's a B. I think he's very in the show. Like, he won't be there for a while, but then all of a sudden he's in there for an episode. It happens like every couple seasons. He'll just show back up. Very minimal parts, but yeah.
I'd say I'm not a huge fan. I would say C. I'm okay with putting him at B. But in my opinion, I'd say he's a C character in my
I'll put him at a C.
eyes.
I'll put him at a C. I was on the edge, so. Ooh, I'm glad. Who's coming up?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I know that this is Stanley, and as for his role in The Office, the only thing I know about him is this dude really likes Pretzel Day.
So,
Nice.
his name is Stanley Yelnats. He digs holes in the desert.
That's
and
not.
he finds
For a second, I
onions
was like,
that taste
I was like,
really
oh my
good.
god,
That's
is
not-
that really what you think? Okay. Do you know his last name?
Stanley. No,
Hudson.
Stanley Hudson. Oh yes. Jim has a great impression of him, and he basically does the impression, and then Stanley just goes, "That's not what I sound like," even though it sounds pretty
The
darn
exact
close. He's into crossword puzzles and hentai. That's what it's, and pretzels, obviously.
Pretzels, yeah.
He gets excited over the little things in life. He's very mundane, kind of like, who are these freaks at the office? He doesn't want to be part of the office family. He just wants to show up, get his check, support his own family. On rare occasions, though, he does get a little crazy, and he's not a fan of Michael whatsoever. He does a lot of stuff like touching him, and he's like, "Stop hugging me." Like, Stanley wants nothing to do with Michael half the time. Michael will say offensive things about him, and Stanley's like, "What the actual fuck? Why is he still my boss?"
Yep.
And yeah, I love him as a character. I think he shows up in season 1 and he's there till the end, and that's for a good reason. I would say he's an A.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to agree. I think Stanley is definitely like the not necessarily standoffish character, but kind of in his mind, he's his own boss. Like, he knows what he's going to do and he's going to stick to it. Couple highlights for me is when they go to Florida and he doesn't go in the normal rental car with everybody else. Like, he gets his own convertible and is playing music, playing the jams in the car, trying to pick up ladies on the street and everything like that. Like he just goes for, he's in his like bird print or something, like Hawaiian shirt or whatever. Or yeah, like Michael gives him a heart attack because he's just too close and everything. And yeah, Stanley's a good, I think, baseline, just not necessarily cracking jokes, but just the seriousness of him like makes him pretty funny.
All right, and we're back again to not knowing who the fuck this is. Is she in the same building as the rest of the office people, or is this like a rival paper company thing?
So you really haven't seen The Office. Because you keep bringing up some rival paper company.
I thought there's like, isn't there like a rival paper company or something?
There's like a section where Michael starts his own company. It's pretty brief, and it's only a couple people, but there's not like it's the same characters from the original Office that are at this company, so it's not like this rival company that happens.
Dude, Dude, how have I not made that clear until now that I haven't seen The Office? This isn't
I
a
just think it's
bit.
that like four people, like four. This is the rival company, I think that comes in to beat them up.
What do you think the owner of this rival company, what their name is?
I thought Daniel made it clear that this is just like a Michael Scott shenanigan.
But in your world, what is their name?
Oh my god! Now we're going into Office fan theories right now, dude. I don't know. Can I just get back to guessing with named characters? This looks like a Holly.
Correct.
Holy shit! Okay.
I'm like, I don't know if you actually knew that or like just random guess, but either way, congratulations.
He's like, oh, okay.
I was like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's Holly. What does Holly do? She's the rival company?
No, I know the rival company thing isn't real.
Or I'm lying again. You never know.
Ooh. You're breaking him.
That was my plan.
I don't know what she does, like some kind of like receptionist intern or something.
Okay. False. That is Holly. She is. What is her position? It's very important, I'm pretty sure.
She is the HR representative that comes in to replace Toby.
Toby replaces Toby. And
away.
Michael Scott hates Toby. So how do you think he feels towards Holly?
Well, she's a young woman, so probably creepy.
Wow, you're familiar with this character.
So they actually have a little love thing go on. It's not that creepy, but yes, they have a little. Michael Scott and Holly, they get together a little bit here and there. Initially, Kevin thinks that Holly has the hots for him, but in reality, Holly just thinks that Kevin is a little on the slower side, so she just like is friends with him because he's like nice to her and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then realizes later on that he is not, in fact, and he finds out that she thought that and is like, "What the fuck, dude? This is not okay."
I think it's Dwight, like actually kind of like, I don't know if it's like hints towards or tells Holly, like, yeah, he's a little bit not all there type of thing. And he's trying to buy a snack with buttons instead of coins.
Yeah, he does a lot of things that makes her go, maybe he's not all there. I'm going to hang out with him. We can be friends. He wants to hang out with me. We can ride on the Ferris wheel together. Then he makes a move, and she's like, dude, no.
Yeah. So Holly shows up to cover for Toby. Then Toby comes back. Holly and Michael like start dating, so she gets transferred back to another branch. But Holly is in my opinion, the like HR approved version of Michael Scott, where she's like real weird and like different, but like not in nearly as cringy as or inappropriate way as Michael Scott. And so she ends up being the reason that he leaves and moves to a different state with Holly to go get married and such.
Okay, so where does that leave you in terms of like character rating?
Well, she marries Michael Scott.
I wanted to see where you put her after that deep description of her from us both.
I don't know. Is she funny?
She's funny. She's funny. She puts up with a lot of Michael's shit. I'd put her as an A, honestly, just because like it gives Michael Scott a good reason to like leave. Like it gives him a good reason to leave the show. So, you know.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Which tier is that again? A?
A. Yeah.
Okay. This is Pam.
Are you kidding me? You don't know who that one is?
You're lying to me right now.
You get Holly, but you can't get this one.
Wow.
This is Pam. Stop lying to me.
Okay, it's Pam.
Good job. Proud of you. What does Pam do?
She's the receptionist.
Correct.
She's
Correct.
like the one who I know most of the arcs about because like it's like oh she has like the art museum thing and like nobody shows up except for Michael. It's like that's one of the things. It's like I get my office knowledge through memes, man.
She's the love interest of two characters.
Uh,
Um, actually, three
I was gonna
characters.
say.
There's a little love triangle that is very, very one-sided at one point of the show. Basically, she gets stolen away from Roy, who has not been placed yet, and she kisses Jim. They end up falling in love, getting married, having kids. Toby likes her, but is really awkward about it for being an HR guy. He's pretty creepy about it.
Mhm.
Gives everyone in the audience a reason to not like Toby. Because before it was kind of like he's just there and there was no reason not to like him, but Michael Scott hated him for some reason. Pam, I personally like Pam more than Jim. She is way more innocent in all of it, in my opinion. Whereas, like, at least the way that they like get together, like he's pursuing her. It's not her fault that he's like pursuing her so much. Like
Well,
where I find him kind of like overstepping lines, she's just kind of like there, and like she's into art, which is pretty cool, I guess. She's a receptionist, but she definitely tries to move up at some point, and she tries to go to school, and she tries to get her life together, kind of thing. She doesn't want to just be a receptionist forever.
I
Yeah.
like that this just turned into Justin giving Pam a pep talk. No, you're really great. You're doing all these things to better your life.
I like Pam. I like Pam.
Yeah, no, I think I definitely like Pam a lot, especially in like the beginning seasons. I agree with you. She's not like chasing Jim or anything like that. A little bit oblivious to what he's doing, but
Mhm.
then it kind of flips. Like when Jim comes back from like Stanford or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Like
you're right. Yeah,
like then she's pursuing him, but then it kind of makes up for it, and like everyone knows at this point that she's interested. And she's not doing anything wrong about it,
yeah,
but just being true to herself.
yes,
Um,
exactly.
and so then I think then she develops quite a bit more, doing more pranks on Dwight, and like gets kind of funnier throughout the season. Like has a bigger role, gives herself a promotion to office manager when they just ask what she does, and she's like, "I'm the office manager," and there's no paperwork to dispute it, so she just gives herself a job and a raise and everything like that, which is pretty sweet. So I definitely agree that she's at that S tier.
She's one of the
Yeah,
ones that jumps ship and helps Michael out with his new company.
the rival paper company. Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Who do we got next?
okay, I know this actor's name is Craig, so I'm gonna guess his character's name is Craig too.
Oh, the Oscar theory. I like it.
Ooh. What does Craig do?
Janitor, maintenance, maintenance. I'm gonna say maintenance.
False and false. He is a warehouse worker
Mhm.
Okay.
because there's a warehouse directly connected to the sales floor. This is
Name?
Daryl.
Nice, Daryl Philbin.
This is the character that I get. Like everyone goes, "Who are you from The Office?" or "Who are you?" and everyone says like, "Oh, I'm Jim," and everyone goes, "I'm Michael Scott. I'm all these main people. I'm Pam." People go out of their way to tell me I'm Daryl. And I get it now. At first, I was like, "Why am I Daryl?" He's kind of the guy that just like he's really reserved a lot of the time, but then the other literal half of the time, he's making weird jokes. Like, he's like trying to mess with people while acting like serious all the time. Like, Michael will be like, "Hey, can we do some secret handshake?" And Daryl will straight up be like, "Oh yeah, this is what like black people do. Like black people do this." And Michael Scott goes like, "Oh my god, that's so cool! Like I didn't know that." And Daryl just like looks at the camera like this fucking idiot. Like, like
Well,
this
he'll
guy's
literally
an
do a pet thing.
asshole.
He's like, "Yeah, I have no idea what that is, but good
Yeah,
for
like
him."
he fucks with people, and that's why I get related to him. He also will like just whip out a piano and start singing randomly, and I love this character. Before I got like told I was like him, I don't know if he's an A or an S. To me, he's an S
Mhm.
because in the beginning he's kind of just someone, I don't want to say their name because they're the next person. He's someone else's buddy that kind of is in the background, and he eventually makes himself a name in the show. Rightfully so.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I would definitely put him at an S. I like his development throughout the show. Even at the beginning, I liked him just because he is that like serious person,
Yeah.
but in a sarcastic way half the time, making sure Michael doesn't play with the Baylor and like stuff like that. And he, again, gets promoted throughout the show and like does a lot of work with that. I also like that he's one of the Zits in Kevin and the Zits. That's a plus for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like a lot of his like the different like side stories with him involved. His relationship with Jim towards the end when they start a company together, he gets hired on in the company that Jim starts and such. And so I think he's a very enjoyable part of the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Much more than this next guy. Yeah.
So Justin already revealed this guy's name. His name was Roy, right?
Yep.
Again, office knowledge through memes. I've seen a meme where it's like, "Don't settle for Roy, go for Bob Vance," or whatever the fuck. So it's like, all right, well, I recognize this picture, so I know this is Roy, like the one of the Pam triangle things. Isn't he like a dick?
He's not necessarily a dick. It's more of he is very content in his relationship, like with not trying or doing anything, whatever. And then he sometimes is a dick. So Pam would like be like, "Oh, he's being a dick right now," and tell Jim about it, kind of thing. And then Jim's like, "Man, fuck this guy. Like he sucks." He's consistently trying to break up Roy and Pam. They're like high school sweethearts. And like they're forever engaged, basically. Like they're never giving
high school sweethearts, but they were
I'm
together.
pretty sure they were.
I don't know. It's very possible.
They were together for a while, though.
What I think sums it up is like Pam at one point talks about they talk about worst first dates, and Pam talks about, oh yeah, the worst first date that I've ever had was went to a hockey game with this guy and his brother, and then got left at the hockey game. And then they're like, wait, this isn't the guy you've been engaged to for 4 years, is it? And she's like, well, yeah. So that was their first date. Then they're engaged for forever. And yeah, like Roy is really just like, yeah, you know what? Nothing needs to change. It is what it is. I don't really care. I would consider him kind of oblivious to his relationship. Doesn't really do anything to do it.
It's not like he's abusive or something.
Yeah.
It's more of he's just like not trying, doesn't realize that he needs to like fucking put in the work kind of thing. And there's a part where he's like, oh shit, like I really need to start trying. And it's kind of too little too late. Jim's kind of swooped in, already slayed the dragon, trying to save the princess. Meanwhile, Pam's like, bitch, I ain't no princess. I'm drawing a dragon.
And then I like that later in the series it comes back, and for some reason, I have no idea why, but Roy invites Jim and Pam to his wedding. And it's in like his backyard, and he's made a ton of money in construction or something like that. And he's back there all fancy and like playing the piano, singing for his new wife and everything. And it's just
he's actually putting in that effort.
But
it was just Pam and him were not the right people. And I guess I think that's their way of like making it okay, is like, oh yeah, they were just never meant to be kind of deal.
Yeah. I would rate him at, honestly, I'd probably say a D.
I'd say a C, because I feel like the only reason you put him at a D is more because he is like a negative.
I just don't think that like there's not much about his character that I like. He's on the screen and I'm laughing about something, and so like
true. I just think he's like necessary. So
yeah,
like that's what I think the difference between the D and the C would be, is like he needed to be there. He needed to be the catalyst between, or like he wasn't the catalyst. He needed to be there, the roadblock in the way of him and
play for the story.
Yeah,
sure. No, I see that, especially with who we have on that list. Like I see that.
Like the David Wallace thing. Like they needed to be there to do something, but we didn't really like them.
I see that. I agree.
Oh no.
Had to be done.
No. Oh my god, who the fuck is next? I can't even tell.
Yeah, I can't tell who that is either.
I don't know. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark and say that's like Dwight, the most famous character in The Office.
I'm not too familiar with this one.
Even I know Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Well, which bear is best?
Black.
Grizzly. Definitely Grizzly. Dwight is the guy. He's got to be S. Like we're just gonna put him there. Um,
I feel
he's
like
the
there's so much
antagonist
to
of
say.
Jim.
Yeah.
Like anything Jim is all aboard for, he is not, and they make sure to make that obvious. He's not necessarily a bad guy, or he's never really up to devious things. He's honestly trying to think what he thinks is right is usually where he's trying to back up. Like he's in every extracurricular activity dealing with law enforcement or like safety. He's the very iconic episode where they're learning how to do like CPR and stuff. He's a safety cadet or like whatever the terminology is for it, but he's very knowledgeable about everything and nothing that you need to actually know, really.
Yeah.
So that's why he's awesome. The amount of pranks being played on him is ridiculous. He kind of gets bullied a little, but at the same time, he does it back to Jim. So it's a push, it's a pull.
Yeah.
You missed it well because you were having technical difficulties, but when we were rating Jim, I brought up the point how like Jim was like the Bugs Bunny to Dwight's Daffy Duck.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
so
will
if you think about it, like the most character that we talked about and how he's like an outsider, and like Dwight is like the next step up from that. Like he's not as much of an outsider, but if you think about the same type of upbringing they must have had for the show and everything, like he's just that kind of weird out there, but a little bit more assimilated with society.
literally.
So like his mindset is just a little bit off. But like you said, he's always doing what he thinks is right or best. I like the arc between him and Jim being enemies to frenemies to best friends, like towards the end there, and also
like
that Dwight gets the job at the end.
he's always talking about honor, things like that. He takes multiple karate classes, different forms of martial arts. He says he's mastered them all, but I think he's only like a yellow belt in all of them. And
I think he gets like a pity black belt at one point in the show.
Yep.
But yeah,
He's just always saying how awesome he is too, which could be really annoying. But the way he does it, you just go, okay, Dwight, that's awesome. That's great. Like, we don't actually care. Keep going on with your day. Who's up next?
I want to say this is Angela.
Okay, what does Angela do?
Isn't she like the office bitch?
I like that it's not actually like a role that they would have in the office, but like, yeah, that's what I know about her.
She's also an accountant. So she's in the trio. There's a little trio desk in the back of the room, back right-hand corner.
Mm-hmm. She's the head of the department.
And so she's with Oscar and Kevin. She's having to deal with these two guys all day long. Kevin's bringing up something stupid like, how many M&Ms are in this jar or something like that. And he's like eating them while it's happening and having to deal with Oscar just always being particular about everything. So, yeah, she's going to be a little bit of a B word. We'll put it there.
Yeah,
she's very into cats. Very into cats. She is the cat lady where you think she will never, ever have a relationship in this show. She likes being alone, but she ends up getting with Dwight. I don't know if you know that or not, Kyle. But yeah, that's definitely a love thing. It's like the Odd Couple. Like, we did not think these two characters would ever have anything to do with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But they end up dating. I think they get married as well.
They do. Throughout the whole show, like they're having a behind the scenes relationship. Like they're hooking up at different places in the office. And that's like an underlying story throughout. Like, so they're dating in secret for a while. And then Dwight goes to take care of one of her sick cats and kills it. So
like, doesn't he put it like in the freezer too?
Yeah. And so like it's like a really sick cat. Like he had to go take care of it because like it needed like 3 different types of medicine or something like that, creams applied places, whatever. And he was like, being the farmer that he is, he's like, oh, well, I'm gonna put it out of its misery, puts it in the freezer, but then and just tells Angela, yeah, it passed away, I put it in the freezer for like to preserve him so we can bury him, whatever. And then later on, Angela comes out like, why were all like the vegetables shredded up in the freezer? Like what's going on here? And so like they break up. Angela dates like a state senator or something like that, who ends up having an affair with Oscar. And and some other guy, and it's like that for the longest time. And then she's like bragging, "Oh yeah, well the senator will do this, and the senator does this. The senator took me to this place." Kind of how Phyllis does with Bob Vance.
And Oscar the whole time's just like, I'm getting that too. Don't you worry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For me, she's like she's a C for me. She could easily be a B as well. She's kind of in between a C and a B for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say a B just for the development with Dwight, like the way that plays off of each other. But I think that's the only thing that puts her into a B for me.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think she's very middle.
I mean,
of the
every
road,
office has to have that very like PC, very
uptight,
nitpicky, uptight person. Yeah.
Oh,
So she
yeah.
fills that role.
Awesome. Who do we have next?
Dear fucking Lord, I don't know.
Close, yeah.
Dear fucking God. This is.
Oh, you're waiting for me to answer.
Yeah.
I don't know, Kristen.
Close.
What does this character do?
Is she like some of like when you mentioned the company gets bought out? Is she like part of that like plot?
Close actually. So she is her name is Erin. And she gets hired as a receptionist to replace Pam when she leaves for the Michael Scott Paper Company.
How is
Not when they
Aaron
get
close
bought
to
out.
Kristen?
It ends the same. Yeah, I didn't get that either. But yeah, that's Erin. I want to say Erin Hannon or something like that. But she gets hired in. She's a love interest for Gabe Lewis, the first D we put up there for a while. Also Andy.
She kind of gets around a bit, just because
And-
everybody's
and
pursuing
Pete,
her, and
yeah.
she's like, "Hey, why not? I guess like we'll see how it goes."
Yeah, I think she has the most relationships with like people from the office
Yeah.
in the show.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. She's like the dumb character, like very giddy, happy, fun going, but dumb. Just like
Yeah,
does not
oblivious
understand
dumb,
what's
ditzy
going
type.
to anything.
Mhm.
And to me, she's unnecessary for the entire show, in my opinion.
I'll say, yeah,
I
I'm
really
comfortable
don't care.
with putting her in the D range there. I was thinking like C or D.
Like,
so.
and she gets a lot of screen time too, so it's kind of sad that we're going straight up D, but
yeah,
it's just how it is. Who's
sometimes you just gotta go straight up D.
who do we got here? You know it. Who do we got here?
This is Bob Vance, isn't it?
Wait,
Bob Vance.
what does he do?
Vance?
Vance Refrigeration.
Nice. See that's all you need to know from the whole show. I think we can end it there.
Yeah.
You knew Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration. So
He exactly. We already talked about he's not that great.
no.
The reference is awesome, but the character himself just shows up. He's just like literally if you were going to go to an office party with your coworkers and someone brought their husband, you just be like he'd be the guy that's like, "Hey, whatever, like hi, I'm here." Like he is the cliche like, "Hey, I brought my husband with," and he's just like, "Yeah, hey." Like he's not into anything. He's like, "Oh, you got a weird work family. That's great."
Yeah, the thing that I think is interesting, like his whole character in the show is literally just him saying Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration. Like you don't really learn much else about him, like other than when Phyllis talked about them going on dates and stuff.
Mhm.
But like the thing that I think is interesting is he just that into himself where he always has to introduce his name? Or is he taking advantage of the screen time from this documentary where he's just like, I'm gonna say my name all the time no matter what. So when this thing plays, everyone hears the Vance Refrigeration. That was
I
like
think
my
that's
thought,
what
like, going
I
through
never
it.
thought about that. I never
Because
thought
otherwise
about that, but I
he
think
always
that's what
he
it
always
is.
looks at the camera too. He's like Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration. Like always looks right at the camera.
He's just
I don't
doing
know
an
what
ad
that
read.
means, but and so I think that's what it is. Is he knows what's going on and he's that
Justin.
businessman.
Justin of a sequel nobody asked for.
I think that's what you should do. Like no matter where you go, you have people record you, and we'll follow you around for 9 years and see what happens.
And we've got a quick ad read, guys.
We're
Right
not
now, you can check-
sponsored by everyone.
By everyone,
No, but
just
we are
no one.
sponsored by us. And you can check out our t-shirts on our Facebook page, on our YouTube. There's a link on both of them. Direct shipping to your house. We've got the Asnaf hot dog. the weenie shirt, and we've got the Meat Slayer shirt. You can go ahead, check out those designs anytime. We've got tank tops and we got t-shirts right now. It will
Tees and
move on
tanks.
from there. Tees and tanks. Couldn't have it any other way. Yeah, that's
Wouldn't want
that.
it any other way.
Justin of A Sequel Nobody Asked For, signing off for this little ad read. Thank you. Beautiful. Who do we have next?
Where were we putting Bob Vance?
Bob Vance. He's a B for Bob. Bob
Yeah,
Vance.
I think the B category is like they have their role, they do it, and
Yep.
and he does it to perfection.
All right, this guy looks. This guy just. I don't think this is a name, but he looks like a Keith.
I like that you keep repeating names. Like I know Keith is there somewhere.
Yeah, he's determined to find the Keith.
Keith, what does Keith do, real quick?
I don't know, like a salesperson.
Kind of.
That's a goal, yeah. So this is Pete/Plop. He is the side. No, I wouldn't even say sidekick, but comes in at the same time as Clark, the other intern.
He's basically young Jim.
Yeah, they call him Jim Jr. It doesn't stick for as long. Dwight Jr. gets stuck with Clark, but this guy becomes Plop for whatever reason. I think Andy is the manager at the time and calls him Plop and just sticks with it. He ends up stealing Aaron from Andy when Andy's the manager and he's off doing something for a while. I think a funny part about that is that Andy comes back and like hears that Aaron's dating this guy named Pete, but doesn't actually know who Pete is because he just calls him Plop and then sees his lunch bag in the fridge and is like, Pete, wait, oh, this guy stole my girlfriend, and then tries to fire him and stuff. It's kind of fun. But
I forgot that whole arc of Pete.
I think that is
honestly.
the only arc of Pete. And so for that reason, I rank him pretty low, yeah,
A D.
because I think it was a
Straight
failed
D.
attempt at adding something to it. Yeah,
Who do we have right here?
Let me be real. I don't know who this is.
Okay, so this is someone who announces his name full. He says his first name, he says his last name, and his last name is a state of the United States. If you can go ahead, try to get a guess there.
3,
Wait.
2, 1.
You're giving me clues. I don't know.
Just something and then a state like Hannah, Montana, but it's a guy.
Yeah.
Steve, California.
Very close, very close.
Yeah.
Robert, California. He is the wacky, zany out there. Like, I have an idea. I have a vision. We're going to follow this. Almost like hippie, but established businessman that, like,
Just totally out there type guy.
very out there, but everybody, he gets results. So it's, like, acceptable. It's just very strange. He's unorthodox in many of his ways of doing things, and he acts like he's the shit.
Mm-hmm. Like he first comes in,
Like he's an enigma. He's like he would name himself. That's why his last name's California. Like I'm pretty sure he changed his name
mm-hmm.
to become this like character, this otherworldly character of
'Cause
Robert California.
His arc is he comes in to interview for the manager position to replace Michael Scott when he leaves, and instead of taking that job, he just buys the company from Sabre. And so he's like, yeah, I talked Joe Bennett out of her job as CEO of Sabre, and now I'm CEO, but I'm also gonna like sit here in this office all the time. And like his first thing he does when he comes in, he makes lists in his notebook of all the people in the office of who he thinks are winners and who he thinks are losers, and like the office finds it and stuff. And this whole thing, he's like, yeah, I think you all are losers. But you can prove me wrong. Like he spends like, yeah, but you can prove me wrong. Like that's not my fault. And someone's like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. But he's just kind of like a weirdo. And then when David Wallace comes back and buys the company, he introduces himself as a different name. He's like, hi, blah, blah, blah. I'm this other person. And everyone's like, what? And then he talks about how he's going to go move to like Russia or something to mentor underprivileged Russian gymnasts or something.
He's one of those people that you
Like-
feel like he's never actually said his real name, and he has like multiple lives that he's leading, and like gets false identities off the black market, and kind of just like fakes his life. That's kind of what I got from him is
Yeah.
that he's just like making it up as he goes, making up his own rules. Like he's probably a fugitive somewhere. And that is the enigma of Robert
I'd
Kelly.
say B at the highest for me, if not
I'd say
lower,
he's a B.
But
I think he's a B because of all the people to come and try to replace Steve Carell, he did an okay job.
I think he did for the longest too.
Yep, exactly. Who's this?
Okay, so I know this actress. I know more actresses than characters in The Office.
Yeah.
The actress is Rashida Jones. I have no clue who her character is.
Nice.
Can
Okay.
I get like some points for
A.
that at least?
A. It starts with an A.
I already said Angela.
Does it start with an A or am I messing with him?
Daniel's saying no.
I forget her name then.
I mean, now I'm now.
Oh no, I was saying her name from the other show that she's in.
Yeah, you are.
Yep. Her
It's
name from
not-
the other show is Ann.
Yeah, it's not Ann Perkins. I'll give you that hint.
Ann Perkins.
Yeah, that's how it always
Literally.
stays in my head. Yeah, you are literally the best, Ann Perkins.
That's Parks and Rec. Yeah. I don't remember her name in this then.
I want to say it's Karen.
Karen. It is Karen. It's Karen. Karen
Let's-
shows
let's-
up.
let's-
Here.
Let's confirm this really quick.
Hey,
Karen
I haven't been wrong
is-
yet.
Yes, it is.
Boom.
Karen Filippelli.
Mm-hmm.
She is a hot-blooded go-getter that wants to go get Jim, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Jim transfers to a different branch because he can't date Pam, and then at this other rival branch. So maybe that's where you're getting the rival paper company thing.
But they're the same
Same
company,
company,
just
yeah.
different branch.
So they get to know each other there. Then they get consolidated back into the Scranton branch, and Jim and Karen are together. And then there's some tension there between Karen and Pam while they're dating. Interesting thing about Jim and Karen are interviewing for a position at like corporate, I think it is, and they're both in New York. That's when Jim decides he wants to date Pam, so he just leaves her there and drives back to Scranton and asks Pam out on a date. And like that's the last you hear about Karen for a while.
Another douchey Jim move.
Yeah, he literally just leaves her there, which I think is hilarious. Like you watch, you're like, what? He just left her, and asked some other girl out, like didn't even break up with her yet, type thing. Weird. But then later comes back as she's a manager at a different branch of the company and doesn't put up with any of Michael's shenanigans or anything. So I think I would put her at a C because I do think that she plays like a little bit of a part.
I think her character's too real. Like she's not like just everything is so relatable on her that she just doesn't go out into the wacky zany world of The Office whatsoever. Like she doesn't make any weird jokes. Like they're very just mundane, right in the middle. Everything's middle of the road. She's just very like if I was actually a character on The Office, I feel like I'd be more like her where it's just like, yep, that's great. Okay, cool. Let's go on to the next thing.
And I think that's why she became Ann Perkins.
Yes.
I think that really is the character that she almost played the same type of thing, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Who do we got here?
I know this actress. This is Mindy Kaling. I'm pretty sure that's her character name too, Mindy.
So there's a funny thing. Someone else shares her name in this office, and they actually end up going by their middle name instead.
There's been so many fucking names.
She shares the name with Ellie,
With who?
whatever her name is, Ellie Kemper, which is
Aaron.
Aaron. So Aaron is Aaron's middle name.
Yeah, so we haven't actually talked about the name
No,
of this character that is the same as Aaron's first name, so it's not going to help you at all.
no, I'm
Justin just wanted to
fucking
point
with
that
you.
out. I was sitting there going through, it's like, it's not Jim, it's not Michael, it's not Kevin, it's not Pam. Like,
I don't I have no clue. Your hint has just thrown me through a circle.
this is Kelly Kapoor.
Okay.
Kelly Kapoor.
Mm-hmm.
She is she's ditzy like Aaron, but she is way more she's more just into like flirting and like the stereotypical girly girl, into fashion, into having fun, into boys, into she's just always like trying to make not necessarily drama, but always talking about gossip of some kind. And she loves it. She thrives off of it. She ends up dating another character in the office.
On and
That's
off
a
the
whole
whole time.
thing.
Yeah, or two of them actually.
Who's the other one? I don't know the other one.
You.
Me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the guy you said was
Daryl.
in the
Oh,
office.
oh, Daryl.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think about Kelly Kapoor?
Yeah, so she's like the customer care representative or something like that, where she's like taking customer complaints and such. She's very into reality shows, like Justin said, like the fashion aspect and stuff like that. Um, she like tries to become a boss at some point, taking advantage of some program that Saber puts on, the Printing in All Colors initiative or something. Um,
Printing
but
in all colors.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. You might need to fact check that one, but
Good
um,
lord.
but yeah, so like she's very like I wouldn't necessarily say complainy, but like that's what her voice or attitude makes me think of throughout the show is like she's complaining about something or like there's just too much drama involved in everything she's doing.
She does say a million words a second too, which is probably the most redeeming quality. Like it's annoying, but also like she gets in a bunch of lines really fast, so
Mhm.
it's kind of neat to have that where you're just like a lot of her scenes are somebody looking at the camera going like what the fuck is she saying while she's just like and then last week I went over here and we did that and then we went around in a circle and then we went in two circles, but circles I like squares more. Like she's just going on
Mhm.
and on and on. So for me she's a C, I would say. Maybe a B, but I think a C more.
I think I'm comfortable with C more than a B.
Okay. There we go. Who do we got next? I heard he started a
I-
fire.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know this guy. This is Ryan.
Ryan started the
Under
fire.
fire.
Do you know the fire scene? Did you hear about it?
I
Did
think
you
that's
meme
one
it?
of the. I think that's one of the few episodes I've actually seen.
Do you know
Okay.
what started the fire?
Ryan,
Other than just Ryan? Yeah, but how did
Dwight.
he start the fire?
It's not something with like I don't know, something with Dwight.
Well,
It was he
Dwight
left
figured it out.
food or something in either a microwave or a toaster or something, and it started on
Cheese
fire.
pita.
Yeah, there we
Cheese
go.
pita in the toaster oven.
And he just boom fucked up the office for everyone. He reaches the top of the company or pretty high up, and then gets put back down very
Mhm.
soon after. He is that guy that will kiss a butt till it is blue.
Is
He
that how that works?
yes, he does a lot of like he's the guy coming in from college going like I know everything. I just need to like he's very overly analytical, thinking that everything he got in the textbook is going to be exactly how it goes. Um he's using that as like a scheme. Like he's always scheming to get to the next step. I want to say Michael likes him a lot. Is that true?
Michael was obsessed with him.
Yeah, he's obsessed with him and is always like, "Oh, Ryan's coming. That's great. This is going to be
Mhm.
so great." So there's obviously some discourse between him and Dwight. Um,
The
but
biggest
in
thing is
reality, he's very boring and normal too, and he ends up dating Kelly. He's the one that dates Kelly, and it's very odd couple situation where you did not think they were going to be dating, but they are, and he doesn't seem like he's ever into it.
yeah, not
He's just
until
like
the end.
dating her to date her. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very on again, off again. He doesn't seem interested until like they break up, and then Kelly's with some other guy. Like she gets with a doctor at one point, and then Ryan's like, "Oh my god, I love her." Tries to win her back, rides an elephant in the parking lot. Some real cool stuff.
Some real
But
cool
the-
stuff. Alpha. Alpha was there.
Alpha.
oh, I remember Elfo. I was there. But the interesting thing with him is the dynamic between him and Jim. Him and Jim do not get along at all. And so like they go back and forth. Like when Ryan starts as a temp, then that interview we're talking about for Karen and Jim, like Ryan gets the job, then replaces David Wallace, and then commits fraud, gets arrested, all this fun stuff, starts working at a bowling alley. But like during that time, does not like Jim at all, so tries to get back at him. And then Jim becomes manager and is Ryan's boss. And then makes him work in a closet for a while. But yeah, like he at the beginning, he just like seems like a very disinterested temp. Like doesn't like how Michael talks to him all the time and wins a Dundee for most attractive in the office, which was pretty funny since Michael gives out the award. But he just seems like not interested at all. And then he kind of comes in and out, dating Kelly and stuff like that. So I don't think he's the funniest, but I probably would put him at a B just for his.
He's a very big
consistent-
character because he's in
Yeah.
that triangle of Jim, Dwight. Because Jim and Dwight are like competing to progress in the job, and so is he.
Depending on
He's
it.
just not in.
Well, he kind of
Their
like
duel.
goes around because he's not
Yeah,
really a
exactly.
salesperson. He's a temp, and then all of a sudden he's like CFO.
Yeah,
then when he
he's
comes
literally.
Yeah, like he's a salesperson, but he's terrible at it. Like that's why he gets trained by Dwight out on the farm and gets left on a beat field because he's trying to learn how to be a salesperson.
Who do we got next?
All right. I guess
Our
this
list is
person's
dwindling down.
all right. I guess this person's name originally, and I know this. I'm gonna say Meredith.
You're correct. That is
Mhm.
Meredith. What does Meredith do?
Oh God. Oh. The roles are what kill me in this.
Not the names.
Just make up a random occupation.
Uh,
Fisherman.
She's the office fisherman, the fact fisherman.
like works in the customer service department with Kelly. No, okay.
This is Meredith. I'm not sure of her role. I just know she is very into hard drugs, very into drinking, very into sleeping around, very into living that rock and roll style life while just being at a paper company. She's got like a kid that shows up who's a little dick bag. Like,
He's a stripper at one point at one of the bachelorette parties,
yep.
and she just cheers him on like, "Yeah, go for it." It's real awkward.
Yeah, she's like overly sexualizes everything. She gets run over by someone in the parking lot. I'm pretty sure it's Steve Carell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She is like in real life, you would hate this person, but like watching her, you're just okay with her existence. You're not like going out of your way like Meredith, awesome, so awesome. You're just okay with her being around, but you would hate her in real life. Like,
Yeah,
without
I
a doubt.
at the end when it does like the wrap up with the like documentary crew and such. She's
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, this thing really didn't paint me in the best light. Like while I was doing all that crazy stuff, I was getting like my MBA or something like that. Like
Yeah.
she's going to school for something crazy." And it like just showed her partying. Like I don't know exactly what she did, but I remember one
Mhm.
part where like she was exchanging like discounts on paper for sex and Outback Steakhouse gift cards or something. And so like she did something with dealing with other paper companies or businesses or something like that. But yeah, so she just gets painted in the worst light. And she's like, "Yeah, I was going to school to do this, this, and this, but you guys just showed me partying, doing drugs, and stealing steak or something."
For me, she's a C.
Yeah, I agree.
She's definitely not the worst of the worst.
C.
Oh, that's a B.
Oh, Kyle has a different opinion. That's
Oh,
fine.
Kyle thinks
you
she's
can have
a,
an
okay.
opinion.
Let's talk about that. No, I'm just kidding. Who do you have
Kyle?
next? This is
That's I know that's Creed.
oh, why is that? Is that a meme?
Yes.
That you know? And why is that? What is his job?
I don't know. I just know he's the insane one.
Yeah, pretty much. So he's always in weird situations. Like he shows up to a fucking party, like a Halloween party, and he's covered in blood. And he's like, "Wait a minute, this is a costume party?" like he just
one of the
had
best
blood
parts.
on him and shows up to this party. Like, okay, whatever, Creed, you're strange man.
Mung beans in his drawer.
I always had a weird assumption about him, and it was that I thought he was like more in charge than he let on. Like he was like a secret undercover boss that just was acting crazy. But no, he was just a crazy guy the whole time. There was never any arc to him being like anything else that I know of. I don't think
He
so.
became
I
the
don't,
manager at one point
yeah, but
because
like,
of his seniority.
yeah,
That was the only
he's just
reason.
been there the longest. So they're like, you know what?
Yeah.
You can be manager. You should know what's
It
going
was
on.
like for a day or something, but yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what his job was on The Office?
Mm-mm.
No clue.
He says it's Quabity Ashewitz. He's quality assurance. he's like Quabity Ashwitz.
Like he
know what his
doesn't
job
actually
is.
know what he does.
Mhm.
He just is like, I think I do something with comedy after.
Yeah, like at one point, like some watermark gets printed, like some inappropriate watermark gets printed on other paper, and like that was his job to check, but like he doesn't get in trouble for it or anything. Like somehow he just does nothing all the time, but is there. But yeah, he's like in a similar category to me for Kevin, because of just like the random times where he just looks up and like just does something random or walks in for the Halloween party with blood on him, like stuff like that.
Oh yeah, he's top tier for sure. He's got a decent amount of screen time too, so it makes sense.
He started off as like an extra in the background, and
Yep.
then people liked him, so he just was in it more and more.
Who do we got here?
Isn't this okay? Isn't this somebody that like Michael Scott has like an on again, off again relationship with?
Yeah,
I don't know her name, but I know that for some reason.
it starts with a J.
Janice.
Correct. Janice goes by Jan. Michael, at one point, they go on vacation to some Caribbean or like
Sandals.
they go to a
Sandals
sandals
resort.
resort, and she takes like either a topless photo or like a scandalous photo, and he like has it printed large in the freaking.
Well, he didn't print it.
Oh no, he like somehow was
He
either
meant to-
showing people about it or something, like, or accidentally sends it to everyone.
Mhm.
And it just gets blown up big because they're a paper company, blown up big just in the warehouse where like Daryl and Roy are, and it's just a picture of her up on the wall, and she like comes in one time is like, what the fuck, like why is this a thing? One of the reasons they stopped dating for a bit. She ends up getting a child at some point that I think is just like a donor child, like she just
Mhm.
got pregnant from a sperm bank and was like, okay, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to be independent kind of thing. And then Michael like shows up for part of it. Like it's just, they're very on again, off again, not meant to be. Some reason Michael is infatuated by her, but she's really kind of a jerk boss. Like not intentionally. She just like always is. She's the one who's bringing the rules. So nobody likes her. It's not because she necessarily is like a jerk. It's just, she has to be serious, lay down the law. She is kind of a jerk. She's
Yeah,
definitely a
especially
jerk
to
to Michael. She's
Yeah, like,
I
when
think
they
she's
get
more
in
of
a
a jerk to
relationship-
Michael because he's a fucking weirdo.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, like she like it's like it's made to be like a relationship that doesn't make sense.
yeah,
Like Michael's a doofus, and she's like this head lady boss person in the beginning, and then
making money moves.
and then they're dating, and all of a sudden Michael's like this really sweet guy that does everything right in the relationship, and then she's just like puts him down all the time.
Yeah,
Then they break up and then get back together when she's pregnant with Astrid or something like that. It's
Yeah.
the baby name, something weird. But then break up again because I think she was suing Dunder Mifflin and like gives a bad performance review to Michael, like says that he's terrible and doesn't understand anything. Like while they're dating, gives like the worst review ever. But so she's more in the beginning. I'd put her at, I'd say like a C. Or
I think she's a B. I think she
I'd
does
up
her
her at a
job.
B.
I think it does her job. It's more of the fact that like you don't like her.
Probably
Like I don't like her as just like a
as a
character.
person. I just don't.
Yeah.
Why is this person?
Yeah, like I don't want to deal with this type of person, but that doesn't mean that her role in it is bad. It's more of I just would not hang out with this person kind of thing.
Mhm.
Up next, who's this? You got to know who this is.
Yeah, this is Andy.
No, Big Tuna.
No, he's what is it? Nard Dog. He's not Big Tuna.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know. He's
Jim's
the
Big
Nard
Tuna.
dog. Yeah, he gives Jim when Jim goes to the other branch. Andy's kind of the guy showing him the ropes, saying like who to look out for, all this stuff. Andy has an anger problem, and he doesn't. You don't know this at first until he just starts like randomly screaming and shouting and throwing stuff. This as the show goes on, he gets a lot better with it, and you almost forget that it was ever
A thing,
like an
yeah.
attribute of him because like he doesn't have the anger issues towards the end.
Well, he went to anger management when he punched a hole in the wall.
Yeah, he goes to anger management, but it's like fixed, and he just
Yeah.
becomes a different character, which is really weird. So that always threw me off a bit because there's like with Andy, he's gold at a certain part of the show, and then there's another part of the show where I'm like, I really don't care for him that much. He like gets over cliched. Like his like main thing is he's an acapella singer. Back in college, acapella singer, has weird band names that all have to do with acapella. And like he just gloats about it, and he's always just like, "I'm singing about a stapler, yeah, roo-doo-doo-doo, like a very Jack Black-esque thing going on, and that makes him a B for me because he has such a high, but he also has a low to me, and it kind of averages out. Because like if I could just take the best of him, he'd be S, no problem, because he is hilarious and whatever the actor's name is, I can't think of it, but he's in
Ed Helms.
Ed Helms is in Hangover, shit like that. He's great in that stuff. Actor's great. It's just the character itself just doesn't do it for me towards the end. He becomes boss for a bit. He goes on a vacation for a long time. Like they're like, he went on vacation, right? Yeah, it's been like 4 months. They're like, wait, what? And they just like didn't have a boss for a bit. It was weird.
Then I think then when he comes back is really when it goes downhill for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Is like because he was gone sailing his boat around, delivering it, selling it because his family ran out of money or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes back and is just like, yeah, no problem, guys, and then like throws everyone else under the bus, even though they've been doing like the best that the branch has ever done without him.
Yeah,
comes back, takes credit for everything, and which is weird because before he left was like the best boss and like everyone's doing really well and stuff like that. So I think after he came back is really when he went down to B level.
Can we do the other one first?
Okay.
Yeah, let's do this one first because I feel like I have less to say about him. And I have everything to say about the other one.
I think this is a really easy name you might figure out if you don't know it anyway.
I know that this is Will Ferrell. I know he's like last season replaces Michael Scott. I don't know his name.
Justin, do you know?
So I don't think does he end up replacing him, or is he like temporary for a bit? He's the full-on replacement?
He is, yeah. So this is the guy that Michael Scott actually like meets to replace him. And so his name is D'Angelo Vickers.
I love that name so much.
Yeah. So he comes in and like he gets introduced by like Michael's going to a hotel bar to meet his replacement and everything, and he's sitting there waiting, and he just sees some guy across the bar, and they start chatting like back and forth. They're drinking for a while, and then Mike's like, "Oh, you know what? I should probably call this guy. I don't know where he is." Calls him, and it's the guy he was sitting with at the bar. But they both talk for a minute without knowing that it's the other person. Like, "Oh yeah, where are you? I'm at the bar. Where are you? I'm at the bar." And like he was there to be kind of like a dumb, I feel like almost like a very close replacement to Michael Scott, like try to be the same type of humor, and it just didn't go nearly as well. He had a weird stage fright issue where he was trying to host the Dundies and couldn't do it. And so I think a lot of his humor was like over the top, like don't know what I'm actually doing. Because I think he actually got the job because this is when Saber was in charge, and he just took Joe's dog, the CEO at the time, that was getting stolen, took the dog and gave it back to Joe. And that's why he got hired as a manager. Like he was homeless on the street, just grabbed a dog one time and was like, "No, that's my dog," and then gives the dog back to Joe. And like that's how he got the job.
For me, you can't replace Michael Scott. How dare you? Will Ferrell, I'm not even a fan of Will Ferrell. He does good movies, but like I'm not
a fan.
People think he's like he's an S tier like comedy role person. For me, he's more of an A, where like he's not the top. So in this show, to me, he's like a C or D.
I would put him at a D. His stint was very short lived. I feel like they ended up writing him out. I don't know if it was what the reason was, but I just didn't like him very much. They wrote him out by like him having like some sort of heart attack while saying he's swearing he could dunk or something, and he gets hurt and never comes back. So it's like literally like a couple episodes that he's there, and then nope.
All right, I know this one's Toby, and I know he's hated. I thought it was all a big joke, but I guess he has some actual reasons to be hated.
For a majority of it, it's like a joke. Like it's like, why does Michael hate this man so much? Is it because he's HR and always going, you know what, Michael, you can't jump from this thing and do that? or you can't be mean to people. Like, he's always the one bringing the bad news. And Michael's like, you're a buzzkill. You're a buzzkill. I'm trying to throw a party. You're the party pooper. Like, that's kind of the dynamic I get from it. And there's no reason to actually dislike Toby until he does start doing some questionable things, like moving in on Pam was weird, just the way he did it, at least. Yeah, that's more of what it is. Like, he really doesn't do anything too wrong, minus one thing. Everybody theorizes that he is the Scranton Strangler. There is a character that is in the newspapers, the headlines, throughout all of the series. There's a Scranton Strangler. Like, they'll just bring it up randomly. They'll be like, "Oh, did you hear about the Scranton Strangler? Yeah, yeah, he went and did this, and he's testifying this day, and yeah." And like, it'd just be a little thing throughout all the seasons. It's a little thing that just gets put up. I think an event gets canceled once or something because of it. I don't remember exactly, but like, he gets brought up, and it's really not a pivotal part of the story whatsoever. It's just like a lore to the show. But a lot of people have theorized that he is actually the Scranton Strangler, and it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, because I mean, he was on the jury for the case when they caught the Scranton Strangler. That was like Toby's part in it in the beginning. He's gone for jury duty for a long time, and then comes back and is like, "Oh, well, I can't talk about it," but it's like, that's the case I was on. And like, so they all start asking about it, and then he's
and
like,
somebody else is like getting told that they're guilty, and he is saying, "Oh yeah, maybe it's them." And like, at the end of the case, he's like, "Oh my god, like, maybe I sent someone that wasn't like actually him." Like, he's feeling guilt of it or something, as if it was him that did. Like, there's a lot of things pointing to it, and it makes me like the character more because of that. Because I'm like, oh my god, if he's the Scranton Strangler, all this Toby was like a facade.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who was the real Toby?
Yeah, and another thing that I like about him is I think he was another one of those people that was like part of the show, like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then like just was liked on screen, so got more and more parts. And so for me, Toby isn't quite S tier, but I would put him at an A.
I think he's an A too. So we just need to decide who is the person, who is the show, who is, and then we'll do the runner-up and leave it at that. We'll each do our top one, including Kyle.
Okay.
Kyle goes first or last?
Kyle should go first because he has no
he only knows
actual reasoning.
No, you knew everyone that was in S tier.
Probably. Everyone but Daryl?
Yeah.
Out of all these characters, I'm going on based on which had the most impact, like in the show and out of the show as well. Like, it's like, hey, they made the most like decisions in the show, and out of the show, it's like, it's that character. Their character's the best, and out of all of these, I see the Jim face staring right at me. I got to go with Jim.
Interesting. Justin, do you want to go next?
I'm going to go. For me, it's Kevin. He's my guy till the end. He makes some stupid comments, but they're also kind of clever. Not from his doing, just from the reality of the situation. And he's just the most memeable to me. So he did his job.
Gotcha. I got to say, like, I like both those choices quite a bit. But I think the person that really brings everything together in the show is got to be Dwight. You know, Jim is so lovable to so many people because Dwight is the anti-hero in there. I think he's just a little bit off, but also has so many like funny parts and integral parts in the show, and his development is pretty cool throughout.
Well, think about superhero movies. The ones you remember are usually the ones with the good villains. I know I skip over the movies where I'm like, I don't even remember who the villain was, like in this Thor movie. Like, who was the bad guy? I don't even know. And that's the one I'll go like, eh. But the ones I remember, I'm like, oh, this is the one where he's going up against the other bad guy. That's really cool. Boom, done, awesome. So, and the fact that he isn't really a bad guy, it's more of like pick your side is more of what it is.
Yeah. That's why I say anti-hero, because like there's times where he's
Mhm.
trying. I feel like Jim is, in my opinion, he's like the main character of many of the seasons.
Mhm.
But I don't think that makes him the best. I think for a while he was my favorite, but I think Dwight on the flip
I
side of
think
it is
the
more
whole
enjoyable.
documentary team made Jim
Hmm.
the highlight of it. Is more of what it was like they were fabricating like, oh, this is the main guy, blah blah blah, and then you find out really like Dwight was way more integral to the whole overarching story.
Yeah, he's like
Um,
salesperson of the year.
he
Like he's
just wasn't
making
as
money.
attractive. He wasn't as flashy. So then the camera crew's
Mhm.
like, you know what? We don't want to delve into it as much,
I
or
mean,
we
so
want
many
to
of those
make him
cold
seem like
opens
he's
on
the
the
bad
show
guy.
too. Like so many cold opens, like
Oh yeah,
work because of Dwight. Like yeah, it might be Jim playing a prank on Dwight, but it's funny because of Dwight's reaction, or like the setup is
yes.
there because of Dwight. I think Kevin is a real close second. I think there's just so many times, like moments where he's on screen where it's just like it's the funniest thing that happens. But I think Dwight just plays such a bigger role that really brings it away for him.
I do know I laugh at a lot of the Kevin moments that if I'm ever watching it with someone, no one else is laughing, but I'm like, this Kevin, oh, Kevin, every time you get me, you just understand.
Yeah, when he creates his own number, the Clevin. Hmm.
Beautiful. I'm for everybody, if I had to like, if we took all of our scores and averaged them, get this.
Of fucking course.
Kyle's sitting here like, oh my gosh, how did we get through this? Like,
No,
I
I'm
hate
sitting.
Dwight.
I'm sitting here like, of course, Justin brought averages into this fucking.
I think for me personally, it was Kevin, but I think overall, out of all of our discussions, I think Dwight is the number one for me. What are you thinking, Kyle?
Yeah,
with
see,
your
I still.
extensive office knowledge.
Yeah, I was gonna say still very limited office knowledge. I just know which characters to root for and which to hate off the bat. Sure, I guess I'll go with Dwight.
You know what? I'm taking this as a win, revenge for the baked good debacle of 2021. Dwight for the win.
Dwight for the
Dwight
win. I'm
better than
okay with
Tony.
this.
Yep.
And wow, with that, everyone that watched, tell us who you think, if we got this wrong or right. If not, check us out on Facebook, A Sequel Nobody Asked For. Check us out on YouTube, the same thing. Actually, you know what? Don't do that. Don't do that. I want you to eat poo-poo caca and never, ever subscribe to A Sequel Nobody Asked For. Never, ever buy one of our T-shirts. Meat Slayer design, pretty cool, if I had to say so myself. Don't do it, though. Don't do it, though. But with that, anything else to say, guys?
I don't think I'm gonna.
A sequel nobody asked